Gender, Community Development and Social Welfare, Honorable Patricia Kaliati, who is presiding over this session here, and Honorable Halima Daud, who is also our guest of honor this afternoon, who is the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Maria Jose Torres, who is the UN Resident Coordinator here in Malawi, Aurélie Valtat, EU Ambassador, and Nkosiyama Kosimbelwa, Paramount Chief, Ruth Negash, who is CEO of COMESA Federation of Women in Business, Ms. Marlene Yolam, who is the Deputy Inspector General of the Malawi Police. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone joining us online and on television, radio, from wherever you are coming from and joining us. Welcome, of course, to the Africa Gender Equality Conference, which runs for the next 3 days, and we are here at BICC. My name is Ruth Kulaisi, and we are, of course, joined by 3,000 participants online, and we also are joined by these participants that are actually coming in from 38 countries to have this very important conversation around gender equality. And on this very special day, which is the 8th of March, and we go on to, of course, look at International Women's Day, which was launched just this morning, not only here in Malawi, but around the world. So today is a very special day, and of course, a good opportunity for us to have this conversation that will shape how we take the next steps over the next few years. So just to kind of give everyone a bit of an idea of what's happening here on the 8th of March, as I already said, it is the International Women's Day. And as you can see, it says that we are looking at women in leadership achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. That's the theme, and that's really what we're talking about. As you already know, COVID-19 has had a real impact on how life is being done and how it's really affected women especially. So it's affected everyone across the board, but it has had a special and specific kind of effect on women. But thanks to many organizations that come in really to step in to help with development, such as the EU and of course UN, there are certain things that have been covered. That includes the Spotlight Initiative that was already in the works before COVID-19 came in, and they're already just kind of going into those spaces and continuing with their work, just modified to work with COVID-19. So let me give you a bit of a background on what Spotlight Initiative is and who they are and some of the work that they've been doing. It's 2 years now that they've been working on ending violence against women and girls across the country. And today, of course, we go on to celebrate and have a bit of a spotlight on the work that they're doing. We will be doing that for the next couple of hours as we're joined by different people that are heading different organizations as well that will speak, and different sectors that will speak to that issue. So the Spotlight Initiative is a multi-year global program initiated by the European Union and the United Nations in September of 2017 to eliminate violence against women and girls. So Malawi is among the 24 countries selected to implement the Spotlight Initiative, including 8 African countries. So how lucky are we to have that come into our country and that kind of effort being put into such work. In addition to enabling a holistic approach to ending violence against women and girls, the Spotlight Initiative Malawi promotes Agenda 2030's guiding principles of leaving no one behind and builds on the momentum of sustainable development goals and efforts, especially Goal 5 on gender equality. So the initiative, of course, includes a multi-sectoral strategy that addresses sectoral issues on violence against women and girls and harmful practices as well, with links to sexual and reproductive health and rights, and of course, HIV and AIDS. So in Malawi, the Spotlight Initiative actually is implemented by the UN in close collaboration with the government of Malawi, civil society organizations, local leaders, the media, of course, as well as communities at large. Currently, the program is in 6 districts. That's Doa, Nchisi, Nsanje, Majinga, Nkatabe, and Mzimba. Of course, there are plans to scale up in 2021. Nothing stopping them. That includes COVID-19. They're still going for it to expand where they reach with the program. The initiative works on ending violence against women and girls through 6 outcomes: laws and policies, strengthening institutions, prevention, services, data, strengthening the women's movement. So those are just some of the ways that they're using to make sure that we end violence against women and girls. So the next couple of hours will actually be really interesting as we focus on those issues. At this juncture, let me actually now have the Minister of Gender and Local Government actually come on to speak to us in just a few. Yes? Fantastic. Honorable Minister, it is your turn to address us now. Thank you.
Your Excellency Maria Jose, the United Resident Rep, Your Excellency the European Union Chargé d'Affaires, Your Excellency the African Business Head of Business Women, Barbara, the Minister of Deputy Minister of Local Government, the High Lordness Chief Inko Samakos Mberwa, commissioners of police, and all my seniors present this evening. Indeed, we are in the International Day of Women, and we're bringing the African Gender Conference 2021. We are in the panel discussions of a number of issues affecting Malawi, be it early child marriages, be it the GBVs, and what is it that we are going to do, especially women in leadership? What are the factors which we'll be doing as a nation? There are a number of interventions which Malawi government under the leadership of His Excellency the State President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera Ntoson's government are doing. And let me reiterate here that all policies, government policies and manifestos and the Vision 2063, the UN 2030 and African Union 2063, they're all focusing on the women. Issues to do with food security, labor, local government, even the markets themselves under the local government and city councils and district councils, those who patronizing those infrastructure are women, education, the economic empowerment of women programs all the way in the 26 years of existence. The Beijing, the UN 75, in all these programs, we are talking about how to empower women and how women are supposed to participate in a number of programs. And we have the legislations. We've been empowering women and even educating women in their women lawyers, women media, women professors, women doctors, the nurses, the frontline workers, just to support and to help the government in implementing its policies in one way or another. Today is a day where we are saluting women across globally as well as also Malawi at large for the job well done. I keep saying in a marriage setup, women, they're also leaders, where the first days of their family, they take care of a husband. And wherever Malawian men married just know that you are a first son of that mother. Because the one who takes care of you before the children. And when you have the children, just know that you still pause at the first person, the first son, and the rest of the children comes. And all these responsibilities are done by women. Talk about women in religious leaders, different religions in Malawi. They pose us a lot of responsibilities. The society at large. Time has come, we thank God that we are here, recognizing, and we thank God. We thank the UN family for the supporting all these programs so that women are in leadership and also that in eco programs. We have the legislations with us that we implement those legislations in gender equality programs, marriage, divorce, family relations, but also we are in the child care protection and justice. If we look after our children, they're going to make a better Malawi, where we want to have the early marriages or the GBVs, defilement rape, and also the early pregnancies. Mothers, wherever you are, let God remember you in a special way. We salute you, the media, the women in media. Some of these issues and where we have interventions, they're there because of you people. We thank you, women in leadership. People used to say women, when they're in position, women, they cannot be in the position because they break very easily. But then we keep saying, not today, maybe it was yesterday. If anything, there are women today that are the ones who are very strong and patting the back of their husband if they are being annoyed at work. Even when they're being booed at the bar where they were drinking beer, that the women who pat them at the back say, what is it that you are worrying about? I'm here, talk to me. Women, they've been portraying a lot of programs and even doing business, left alone, looking for food, and even school fees for the children. Some of them selling drop scones, sweet beer, cachaso, just for the school fees of their children. Even if a husband is working, but you find that a woman is really suffering. We thank you, the human rights activists. We thank you very much, our partners in development, the European Union, the World Bank, UNICEF, EVAWG, Detection Cancer, Oxfam Malawi, name them for the work which you are doing in empowering women, but also making women to participate in a number of programs. Our women out there, time is now that we need to pull our success and stand in our shoes firmly and work for the betterment of this nation and our fellow women. Sometimes men use women to frustrate their fellow women. Time is now not to tolerate that, but we need to support each other. We'd like to also congratulate and support all the women who are in leadership, the Minister of Health, who've done everything possible, making sure that we bring down the COVID-19 to that rate. The Minister of Local Government, who is here, and we are looking forward to work together and end child marriages and even removing all the street children in the streets, that tomorrow they're going to be good fathers and good mothers. The minister, the officers, in professors, the judges, the commissioners of police, the lawyers, even the housewives, wherever they are, that implementing government policies in one way or another, we salute you very much. And we are looking forward to economically empower you people. As long as we also we move with us and even participating in each and every program and take the position at a local level, be it a school leader, whether there are those bohos, there are those Nazareth schools, even in leadership at a church, a chairperson of Dorica, from different churches. Let's take those roles, and we should not even refuse doing it. Sometimes we lack confidence. Time is now that we need to stand in our shoes to say, yes, I will do it. Because when we empower you people and when you are given those responsibilities, you perform very well. The organizers, where's Show Me? That today we are here, you made sure that we need to have this day. We commemorate the African Gender Conference 2021, but also we commemorate the International Day of Women globally as well as Malawi. We thank you very much. For this to happen, allow me also to thank the leadership of this nation and its government for the programs which they are putting aside for the women of Malawi, making sure that we are to be at par with the Malawian men. There are men of substance that are supporting women leaders. I would like to thank you very much. That some of us were here because of you, you've been supporting us in one or another. To some of the men who are not even supporting women, time is now. Take that woman as your sister, as your mother, and you are blessed to take that woman as well as your wife. So you are so blessed, and you are there in the image of the Creator. Let me take it from the Genesis, book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 26, where God created a man in his image and also made him sleep, and he created a woman from his realm. Let me categorically say here that we were not created from the bond of the palm that should be slapping us every day. We are not created from the bone of a back that should be leaving us behind. We were not Malawian women created from a bond of the feet or the foot that should be stepping on us every day. We were created from a bone of your limb that we need to move side by side on gender equality with the legislation which we have of 2013. And also of the marriage, divorce, and family relations, that whenever we divorce, give us something as we go away. There's no way that we go in court and say, she was not working. The ironing, the cup of tea, food on the table, even a glass of water. That was also responsibility which you are doing. Even taking care of your children at home is also responsibility. As we are focusing very much in the women's leadership as well as in gender equality, we are focusing very much on a girl child and a boy child so that we kill two birds with one stone, especially the GBVs. And we know that when we educate a man, we will have less inferiority complex because they will say, okay, I can work. And when we also educate a girl child, we make a rightful decision when to get married, when to have the employment and the job which is looking for, and also when to drive their pusher cars. So our young women, wherever you are, we are looking forward to be in education sector and in the corridor of education. And the 18 years of marriage, which we indicated in our constitution, that should be a year where you're supposed to be in your tertiary education. As we move together, our partners, our judges, police, mothers, fathers, children, men and women, boys and girls, our media, the community, our leaders, traditional leaders, and through you, Inko Samakos Mberwa, and through you, all the chiefs who are really following our programs. To those who are not following, we ask you, please help us and make sure that we end all early marriages and even punish all the perpetrators who are really victimizing our children. We salute you, our Majesty, the Inko Samakos Mberwa, for the job well done in your territory, supporting women and also empowering the girl child going back to school. We thank you, the police, for the job well done. And to some of those who are sitting on our programs, please, through your commissioner, push them that tomorrow they might be their children. We thank you, our partners, for the support, financial and also materially, that you've been there for the Malawi government. May God bless you as we are together here, making sure that we move forward for the equality of women and also for the leadership programs of our women in Malawi. May God remember you in a special way. Our PS administration and all the officers from the Ministry of Gender for the tireless work which you are doing day and night. We thank you very much. Let us move together for the common goal of supporting the president and also supporting the Malawian at large. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Gender, that there is Dr. Patricia Galiati. Thank you for that. So as we continue with our program, let me invite onto the podium to give us some remarks Aurélie Valtat, who is the EU Charge d'Affaires. Please come and address us.
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome, everyone, physical and online. Honorable Minister of Gender, Community Development and Social Welfare, Dr. Patricia Galiati, Deputy Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Halima Daud, United Nations Resident Coordinator Maria José Torres Macho, His Royal Majesty Paramount Chief Nkosi Yamakosi Mbela, Deputy Inspector General of the Malawi Police Service Marilyn Yolamu, CEO of COMESA Federation of Women in Business Ruth Negash. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Today is an important moment to commemorate the Spotlight Initiative, which you have heard about earlier. We are indeed at the middle of the program. So this is our time where we are doing a midterm review, where we are assessing the implementation of the program. And as such, it's very important for us to know what has worked and what didn't work. Why? Because the EU is a fervent believer in putting gender equality and gender empowerment in all its programs. Actually, from this year onwards, all our programs around the world, 80% of these programs will have a gender component, and 5% of these will be fully dedicated to gender. So we also commend the Malawi government, the Minister of Gender, of course, and the President for having set up the task force on rape and defilement. This is a real commitment to tackling gender-based violence in Malawi. In the EU, we believe in dignity, access to justice, and gender equality. And we would like this to be put in stone in every constitution, in every legal document, but not just that, we want it to become a reality. Regrettably, we have seen gender-based violence become quite prominent recently, not just because of COVID, but partly because of COVID. You know the figures, I will spare you the figures. So after 2 years of implementation, what has Spotlight achieved? I know Maria José will tell you a little bit more about it, but just to give you some pointers. So we have worked on amending prioritized laws, in particular Prevention of Domestic Violence Act and the Gender Equality Act. We have also supported the establishment of a Chiefs Forum at district and community level that will strengthen the role of traditional leaders in ending violence against women and girls. We have worked with almost 200,000 households and over 100,000 boys and girls and almost 1,000 schools to raise awareness on gender-based violence across all the districts where Spotlight Initiative is working. We have also made sure that survivors who are telling their stories and inspiring others to speak up are able to move, so to be mobile, and have provided bicycles and motorbikes for this purpose. We are also looking at building a national observatory hub to monitor data and centralized data on gender-based violence. This is really important, and the minister has also highlighted this. We need to know what's going on. So these are just some examples of what the Spotlight Initiative has delivered. I'm very proud of this partnership with the UN. EU and UN going strong on eliminating violence against girls and women. And Malawi is the perfect country to do this, because not only do you have challenges ahead of you, you have also demonstrated as Malawians and as government that you really care about this topic. And the recent history in 2020 has proven us right. So this is a key moment. Let us join forces so that we can achieve more and go further. I'm really happy today to discuss Spotlight, its impact, and how we can take it further with you, and how we can eradicate violence against women and girls in the future. Thank you very much.
Aurélie Valtat there. As we continue, let me now invite to the podium Resident Coordinator for UN, Maria José Torres.
Thank you, Ruth, and good afternoon to everybody, and particularly to the high table who is going to be debating about how to eliminate violence against women and girls this afternoon. I would like to start by Honourable Minister of Gender, Community Development and Social Welfare, Dr. Patricia Cagliati. I would like also to salute Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ms. Halima. I would like also to salute the European Union Chargé d'Affaires, Aurélie Valdat, His Royal Majesty Paramount Chief Nkosi Yamakosi Mbelva, who is also part of the debate. We are also honored with the presence of the Deputy Inspector General of the Malawi Police Service, Marlene Jalamu, and the CEO of COMESA Federation of Women in Business, Ruth Nengash. I'm here as UN resident coordinator, but I really would like to extend my salutations to the Spotlight team that in Malawi is represented by 4 very important agencies, and the successes are the result of good work done by our teams. Clara Ariangwe, head of UN Women, Shigeki Komar Sugara, UNDP rep, Rudolf Rank, UNICEF rep, and Yang Wong, UNFPA. I know they are following this event online, and really I like to acknowledge the work that everybody is doing very strongly with communities in the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe just to acknowledge first that Spotlight is here because the government of Malawi took a very decisive stance in Africa to stop child marriage. That's the reason why we are working together in the country, because they, as any other country in the region, the Malawian institutions and the parliament decided to make it illegal. And from that standpoint, everything that we are working is the result of this very strong partnership. So the United Nations, together with the European Union, has really accepted the challenge that is to transform something that seems inevitable, that half of the world is being subject to violence and abuse, and violence seems to be the normal, when in fact it has to be the abnormal. Therefore, we're standing together in an alliance with the countries that have decided to meet that challenge, to stop forever violence against women and girls. And as a result, we are also working with families, with communities, with countries. So violence is part of the past and not everyday present. So I have to say, if we are able to present today some successes, it's because we have counted with the tremendous leadership, capacity, and engagement of the national institutions. Really, it would have not been possible to be here today telling you things that are starting to transform lives in the districts that we are working without that extremely important leadership of the Minister of Local Government, the Minister of Gender, and their teams, because this program is happening at the ground level. We could not be here without the dedicated efforts of the chiefs. We have a network of chiefs that has been working to change the mindset, to start talking to communities about the space of the girl child, the space of women in a society that is for equality and in a society that is for development. And we cannot work without them. We cannot be here today without the work of the media. We have a network of media houses and radio stations that are local, that actually are able to pass the message and engage communities on their concerns. This is not an easy subject. Believe me, it's not only for Malawi, it is for the entire world. We are working on issues that are normally a taboo. There are issues that are difficult to explain, to talk about, to recognize that something is wrong when everybody before us has found that absolutely the normal issue. So I think one has to be brave to break the circle, the vicious circle, and to create the actual a circle that is virtuous. And what it is that is bringing us together? Civil society that is playing a fundamental role, and I really want to pay a tribute to all these men and women that are working with us in the community. So it is not only about big NGOs, there are also big NGOs working with us, but also those civil society organizations that are there locally making lives of boys and girls different every day, because what we are doing in terms of eliminating violence is so close to their volunteers. And we are united on something that is tremendously important and very powerful. There is one SDG in the whole SDG numbers. So we have 1 to 17 is SDG 5, that is really about achieving gender equality. And we know, and this is demonstrated in economic terms, in social terms, that the moment that gender parity gets closer, we unlock the full potential of countries. So we stop violence if we give opportunities, if we create spaces for decision-making and dialogue where women are part as partners. I think those experiences have demonstrated that those countries have moved potentially forward the SDG agenda. We have no time to lose. I think that's an important message that COVID has brought to us globally. We have no time to lose to continue pushing the SDG agenda, and we cannot just lost in that fight half of the population. Let's make them the fighters for equality. Let's make them the leaders that are going to make the change happen. So, and that speaks about something that is very, very important. If you realize I have not spoken about gender equality as only a matter for women, it is a matter for societies. So unless we don't embrace in that space of the fight for equality, the space of men and boys, we are not going to win it. It is a fight against violence, is a fight against discrimination, is a fight against systems that are not sufficiently equal, and it's a fight that men and women, boys and girls, need to fight together. So that's the space that SDGs provide, is a space of partnership. And I think in that sense, I really want to pay tribute to the excellent work of His Excellency Lazarus Chakwera, the President of the Republic of Malawi, when he took a stance on the situation of sexual violence, and that has been very well reflected by the Minister of Gender, and started to say, okay, enough is enough. Let's have a task force and start having a plan on how we stop this number of child pregnancies and girls that are dropping out from school at a very early age and becoming mothers. So I think that's absolutely a phenomenal sign from the top leadership. We were just a moment ago with the First Lady discussing exactly these very issues, and one can see the passion on the education of the girl child as a vehicle to create that new space and opportunities. We have also very strong leaders in the Ministry of Gender. Minister Kaliati has been since the morning very passionately explaining how the Ministry of Gender is making the change. And we have here also Minister Haluma, who is also representing the best of the efforts at the local level on how can we transform societies. Civil society is key, and in that sense, if we are not being able to work together, you might think that I'm leaving a very important sector behind, that without, we cannot realize women empowerment, that is the private sector. What about the private sector? Is it not a role for the private sector to really engage in the fight for equality, in the fight for gender equality in this case? And the answer is absolutely yes. So we really need to do a number of focus efforts in these COVID-19 times to attain some impact. And allow me just to throw some, and it's not an exhaustive list because I think we are going to have a conversation immediately after. Budgets are critical. So as the government of Malawi is discussing the budget for 2021-2022, it is very important to understand where is the allocation to stop violence. And I think the rule of law institutions, and we are here today with the police, is a very important ally, the judiciary, very important ally. Those institutions that allow access to justice in the communities, very important ally. We also need to see how actually laws and policies translate at the local level. It cannot only be something that is fantastically well done, but do not get to the last mile. And I think there is where we all have a responsibility, and we need to be accountable. We need to be accountable to the same people that we are serving. Social behaviors, attitude, and practices. We need an alliance, as I was mentioning, between boys, men, women, and girls, because it cannot be only half of the population fighting for the rights of only half of the population. We really need to engage everybody on that. And this is at the core of the principle of leave no one behind. And we cannot do all this without understanding how big is the problem. Do we have enough data that allows us to make informed decisions, and therefore we can really attack the problem as big as it is, or understand progress as it's coming? And last point, I like to really, because it's International Human Rights, International Women's Day, to really just for a moment pause and think about the tremendously important role that women's groups play in all this fight for equality. Because they have been, from the beginning, fighting for equality, fighting for a space, and we need them. And I think a tremendously outcome of the work of the Spotlight Initiative has been to see the birth of the young feminist network. So more young women engaged in these discussions. We need all of you in this. You are going to see a nice video that speaks much better than myself in terms of the results. Survivors speaking, but I just want to mention 2 or 3 things that we are very proud of as UN team, working with all of you, with the European Union, with the government of Malawi, with civil society, with the communities. So we are helping at the district level enhance the capacity of service provision, including health, mental health, justice, and livelihoods. How important is that? To allow women to have a means of survival, to allow women to have access to justice, to be counseled if they are suffering, or including access to health. We have also been working in terms of livelihood opportunities with some 20,000 women and girls. We have been working, and we are very proud, and it's fantastic that Paramount Chief is today with us with the chief forums. If we are talking about behavior change, we cannot do it without those who are really at the core of the work with the societies in the districts, and the chiefs play a very important role in stopping and eliminating violence against women and girls. And also, we are also very proud in reporting that we have managed to stop at least 3,000 marriages. Obviously, when I say we, is the team that I was referring to, is from the chiefs to the people working in the districts, with everybody from the civil society, people in the media. So it is really collective result of good work. And also the fact that women are starting to take over decision-making spaces, and we have established women assemblies in all these 6 districts of a Spotlight. Yes, there are successes, but I think if we reflect forward, after 2 years of work, we might need to think more about what we are doing right and what is not happening yet. But it's essential if we really want to see a transformation in the way that the Malawi society is looking at issues of violence against women and girls, to start being not just reporting on the problem, but also reporting on the solutions that together we are finding. So I just want to leave it here. We accept the challenge as the UN to continue being your partner, thanking fully the European Union for their partnership and their support. Basically being extremely honored of being able to serve together with the national leadership of the Ministry of Gender and the Ministry of Local Government. Together we're making the difference. Thank you very much.
Yandura Chapeta. One. Okay. It's too big. Maybe we should remove a stool or two from up there. We could remove them to create space. Adafuna mpando wina moja. Tuongezele mpando mmoja kumanda kuti yote na stool. Kuti mpando yote. Should they look the video? I guess we're good. Koma barazaine mbali ngira kuwelana. Sontila beza kumbali kang'ono ngira kuwelana. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is, of course, the Africa Gender Equality Conference. And we are at this point looking at the Spotlight Initiative and the work that it has been doing in the country. So just to quickly go over that, Spotlight is in 24 countries and was opened here in Malawi in April 2017 and works in 6 districts. So already they've made ground. They're looking at expanding their reach within the country. And right now is a very special time because we are about to jump into a high-level round table discussion, which will be handled and moderated by Yandura Chipeta. So let me invite her to come onto the podium to guide us through this roundtable discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth, and welcome everyone. Firstly, let me introduce the panelists that we have before us. We have the Honorable Patricia Kaliati, the Minister of Gender, Community Development and Social Welfare. We have Honorable Halima Daudi, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. We have Madame Maria Jose Torre Macho, the UN Resident Coordinator in Malawi. We have Madame Aurélie Vatat, the EU Ambassador. And we have Inkosiama Kosimberwa, the Paramount Chief. And we have Madame Ruth Negash, the CEO of COMESA Federation of Women in Business. And we have Ms. Marilyn Yolamu, the Deputy Inspector General of Malawi Police Service. So welcome you all, our audience and our panelists. And before us, we have a few questions highlighting on violence against women and girls and what it is as a country, as development partners, we're doing to end violence against women and girls in Malawi. So the first question goes to you, Honorable Minister of Gender, Madam Patricia Kaliati, in that Malawi is one of the countries that has the highest prevalence rate of child marriage. It is number 12 worldwide. And we have seen the strong stance that you have taken through your ministry to end child marriages. Do you feel that the situation is improving, and what more needs to be done to end violence and child marriage in Malawi? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. The Deputy Minister of Local Government, the Royal Highness, the Paramount Chief Inkosema Kosimberwa, Your Excellencies, the Deputy IG, Madam Yolam, and all my seniors present. The government and its stakeholders, i.e. the spotlight, is having, including the development partners, is having a number of initiatives and interventions which we are putting in place in addressing issues of child marriages in Malawi. And these include the law reforms. The law reform, we have amended the constitution on the age of marriage, and we enacted the Marriage, Divorce and Family Relations Act, which provides for the legal age for the marriage, which is 18. But we only focus that even at 18, we are looking forward to see a girl child and a boy child be at a tertiary education. We have also the National Legislation Bureau enacting best legislation in order to enhance protection of children from child marriages whenever the cases are in court. We are also having the other program which you have this transformation of social norms. Our efforts have been focused on changing the harmful cultural practices where we've been working with the traditional leaders that influence child marriages. This is being done through implementation of community bylaws at a district level, that they've got to have their bylaws which are in tandem with the national laws which we have. But also, the chiefs and the other community leaders have been very instrumental in addressing issues related to harmful cultural practices. And we keep working with teachers, officers, social officers at the district level, community development officers, the child protection officers, but also the mother groups. Indeed, even the community policing joined the bank warden, making sure that the children are being protected. We have awareness creation. Another important issue has been also being awareness raising on the rights of children and providing for conducive education environment for young people. We've been working together, keeping them in schools, but also provision of sexual services and allow their readmission into schools whenever they've delivered, even if those who are pregnant, but also it's a time where they were supposed to sit for their examinations. We are allowing them to go and sit for their exams. You never know, maybe after delivering, they might find that they've passed their examination and they are supposed to go into classes as well. The ministry further developed a national strategy on ending child marriages in Malawi, but also we work with Minister of Education and the Minister of Local Government as well. The fourth one is the provision of support to keep girls in school, issues of bursaries for the vulnerable girls. We thank our partners, our donors, and also the NGOs, CSOs for the support, and even the individuals. We have different professors and lecturers who are teaming up, and women forums who are teaming up, contributing for the vulnerable people, paying their school fees at in the tertiary education. Counseling through mother groups, but also we provision of sanitary pads to girls, where the mother groups are being trained as well to be providing sanitary pads so that we should not even leave anyone behind or even having dropouts or even absenteeism in schools because maybe they're in messes. We are looking forward to see each and every girl, even in messes, attending classes so that they cannot even lose any subject or even any topic. And that's why provision of the sanitary pads. The provision of push bicycles to girls that cover long distance to school, the hostels which are being constructed in schools, the secondary schools which are constructed closer to the catchment area of a number of primary schools feeding into those community secondary schools. These are also government interventions which we have. Provision of learning materials, which we are providing to different schools, even some of them from our partners and even government and also well-wishers who are supporting us. Implementation of school readmission policies, which we have. Those in marriage, some of them we have the open classes where these girls, they go back to school. What we are looking forward is to encourage now the boys to go to school. Some of them, they are shy of attending classes after dissolving of their marriages. Yes, the situation might be improving or not, but we are moving forward to that. The recent assessment of teen pregnancies and child marriages indicate that while the few areas child marriages cases have reduced, largest part, the cases are constantly and also even increasing. We have 28 districts, and we have a number of traditional leaders who are helping us. Some of them, they're even doing it after introducing that we need to dissolve all these early marriages. You've seen through the support of Spotlight Initiative, the chiefs are even elaborating that we've done a lot and they're ending early marriages. Those with early pregnancies, we ask them to deliver and they go back to school. So our partners in development, the UN family, under the initiative of the European Union, through the cash transfer program, the support which you are providing to a girl child, they're also supporting them, they're also helping them to buy the basic amenities which the children are able to use at school. Yes, there are other areas where we are not even doing it. We are not doing well. There's increase of cases. It might be because people are able to review. People are able now to notice that things are not in the same scenario we used to have. That's why we have a number of those cases, that because people are able to say, here we are, there are these children who are pregnant. And one of these, the COVID-19, yes, they have their setbacks, but also the other part of it is that we are able to know, and we have managed to know that how many cases of early marriages and early pregnancies we have. And this is through the media. We'd like to salute the media for the job well done. And we promise that the cordial relationship between Malawi government and the Minister of Gender and the media is going to grow stronger and stronger. The support which we are getting from the Malawi police, the judges, the women lawyers is so enormous that we cannot even let it go without even saluting them. The intervention have not been comprehensive enough, not addressing all needs and gaps that connected to specific areas in the district and also region. It might be that we are not coordinating with our partners, especially at a local level, the mother groups, the parents themselves. Sometimes they keep saying they marry their children because of breakages of their marriages. Some of them is because of poverty, the peer grouping, lack of care from the parents. The results have also shown that a lack of collaboration among players, like the we have an instance in Mitundu where a clinician was telling us about all the incidences of marriages, teen marriages, and pregnancies. Now, at a local level, some of the chiefs, they discuss outside the court to say, why can't we just forgive and forget some of these cases and we move forward? And when we've been alerted with those cases, we ask our social workers, community development officers to move forward and even report to police. If maybe within the locality we have challenges, we thank the IG and through you, the Deputy IG, for the support which you are providing to the Minister of Gender and Malawi government. We call them directly and they keep following those cases. And a number of arrests have been taking place because of the support which you are getting from the police. What more is supposed to be done to end the child marriages? Yes, indeed, there are a number of issues that need to be done, including improving the coordination and also collaboration among partners, and also awareness and the mobilization and localization of our legislation which we have. The child care, where we can even arrest mothers who are not taking care of their children, who are marrying their children. The marriage, divorce, and family relations which you have, that all mothers are also responsible to make sure that their children, they've got to get married when they're 18. So we need to collaborate, and recently we were linking up with the Minister of Local Government through district councils, city councils, to make sure that we move forward and popularizing and having bylaws with our traditional leaders and encouraging the traditional leaders to help us in the popularization of our legislations which you have and end early marriages. Across Malawi, a number of early marriages have been dissolved, and we'd like to thank, and one of the, our champion is High Loyalist, the Paramount Chief, Inkosi Amakosi Merwa. We have Paramount Chief Kachindamoto. We have Chief Kameme, Senior Chief Kameme. We have a number of chiefs across Malawi who are doing very good, who've ended a number of, who dissolved a number of marriages in their localities. We are looking forward. We have even a lady chief, Chief Nyambi in Mangochi. Is it Mangochi Machingam? Is doing incredible work, making sure that, and even they contribute within the local level and paying school fees for these children. We thank some of the chiefs that are calling us to say, please come and see what we are doing, just to encourage them to continue doing it. We need to ensure that all programs and interventions are also designed and implemented in line with the national strategy on ending child marriages. But also looking forward for improving data management. I see how many cases we have and how many children they've been integrated into classes to ensure that decisions and interventions and also informed by data and also evidences on the ground. You are looking forward for the continued empowerment girls with knowledge and skills that enable them to have power to decide when to marry and who to get married. And also those who are really out of marriages, we need to empower them with the skills development programs. And we are looking forward, we are the first years or the first month of the ministry, we looked into the early marriages and the early pregnancies. Now we are looking forward to put also gear 3-4 in the economic empowerment of our women. When a woman is economically empowered, is going to make a rightful decision of even taking care of the child. And even to say, okay, if you think that you cannot support my girl, I better be single and support my child. Women who are not economically empowered, they cannot make a rightful decision. Some of the children and even girls are really suffering in silence because the mothers are not empowered. And that's why we have all these deformity and rape, that mothers are not even denouncing all those, because if they think that if they're going to denounce, then they're going to be divorced from their husband as well. But when you are economically empowered, you stand firmly and choose to say, I better support my children, I better live peacefully with my children than having a marriage which is where we have no peace and my children are really suffering. We are looking forward for economic continued empowering girls with knowledge, skills, as I've rightly said, empowering survivors of child marriage economically, including involving them in the entrepreneurship. We have the COMESA, Her Excellency here, who is in those programs, and the young mothers who are really, the children who are mothers need to be economically empowered, especially those who haven't gone through the corridor of education. But those who've dropped because of marriages and they've tested the corridor of education, we really integrate them with the bursaries and the support from other programs in the spotlight. Those who haven't yet tested the corridor of education are the ones who are, now we are parading them in the entrepreneurship programs, just to empower them to stand firmly in their shoes and support their toddlers. But also, as the Minister of Gender, we are looking forward to see that we should be standing against all forms of GBVs. As women, especially how we parade our children at the household level, how we encourage our children, what is the life of living of our children in the household level. Sometimes we take girls as if they cannot even make any decision. Sometimes we take girls that they cannot even help in one or another. And we take them as least people within a family level. This is the time where we mobilize and mobilize women to support and take the children at par, be it a girl and a boy, and to work the same. They should not be differentiating that a girl is supposed to remain home and the boy is supposed to go home and go to school. And some of these early marriages, you find that the one who is being impregnated, the man goes to school and finishes her or his tertiary education, be it a person who was in secondary school, they let a boy finish education and let a girl being at home with a mother-in-law as if he's married to that mother-in-law. We are encouraging the girl to go back to school. And now, times now, in this 21st century, that girls who've been impregnated by a boy who've gone to school, dissolve that marriage, let the girl go back to school as well. We have a number of women who are having their children out of what? Out of school, but they integrated themselves back to school and they're doing well. You never know, they might be also leaders tomorrow, and that's what we are looking forward for leadership schools and leadership, women in leadership, that we need to have confidence that we can do it. School is there, it won't end. Even if you are in marriage, you can even parade yourself into the corridor, even at home, you can even do that. With the technologies which you have, you can do that. So we are encouraging our young women to go back to school so that we can be at par with the boys. Time has come that we should not be underrated, but we need to be seen that we are also part and parcel of the programs and interventions and incentive and the programs which we have under the Malawi government. Yeah, thanks so much. But before I conclude, I would like to thank my seniors who are here, the UN family, through you, Maria Jose, Let me thank you, the Deputy IG, and through you to the police. And let me thank you, even you, Madam Yoram, the Deputy IG, take our thanksgiving to the judiciary as well, because we are all at one enforcing the legislations. Let me thank you very much, Commissioner, Your Excellency, for the support which you are providing to the women. You are there empowering women to stand firmly in their shoes that I can make rightful decisions and even say no to all forms of GBVs and even look into their children as they go back to school. The Minister of Local Government, we thank you very much for the support which you are providing to us. We are looking forward that we move together in the end of child marriages through our chiefs across Malawi. And we have our Royal Highness, Inko Samako Simberwa, who is really a champion of end child marriages. The European Union for the support of the cash transfer program, which is making children to pay for their basics as they are going back to school, and even supporting them for a plate of food on their table. We are looking forward to have more programs and interventions of all this kind for a girl child, and even integrate them. And we're looking forward to have a number of chiefs, as to what the chief from Chilazuru was talking about, the programs of spotlight programs, which you are having in 60 districts, and we want to have them in all districts so that the challenges which we have should be reduced and even end them. We thank you very much, the media. May God bless you, and remember you in a special way for the job well done. Without you, we couldn't know how many early marriages we have across. And when you are looking to the response to COVID-19, we managed to come across all these marriages. Yes, we have different data, a Minister of Education and a Minister of Gender. Minister of Gender is looking to the perspective of those who've dropped out because of the closures of school, and because of that, they were impregnated. But the Minister of Gender, we look into all angles, be it the one who's being the corridor of education, or even not, who was not even in the corridor of education, but if it's a toddler, we are dissolving their marriages and back into new programs, skills development, and those at school going back to school so that they can be good citizens of Malawi tomorrow. We thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for highlighting the different work that government is doing. And let me also thank you for your support. We know you have another engagement and you'll be leaving shortly, but we appreciate your support and your presence. Thank you. At this point in time, our second question is directed to the UN Resident Coordinator, Madam Torres. How is ending child marriage factored into the Spotlight Initiative?
So thank you very much. The Spotlight Initiative is based on something that is very core to the SDGs, that is leave no one behind. And we are very firmly convinced, because the data shows that the best way to leave no one behind is giving girls the opportunity to go through a school. And as the minister was explaining, having life skills, education, so they can be the mothers that are going to make the change forward. I was just doing an estimate of the number of years that in average a European woman has to prepare herself before going to marriage and having kids. In Africa, more or less, you have kids at an average age of 19. In Europe, it's 29. So any European woman has 10 more years to get herself educated, well-established, find a livelihood. And I think the core of this story is that thanks to the work that we are doing together at the community level, thanks to the engagement of chiefs, the ministries, the police, we are starting to create the awareness that it is much better for that community if indeed girls do not marry but continue their studies, because change is only going to be happening if that is a reality. So I would say to your question, because this is a program that is based on rights, this is a program that is based in transformational change, we are sure that if girls remain in school and we stop marriages, we are going to see that change happening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam. And can you tell us a little more about the Spotlight Initiative and what actually sets the program apart from other efforts on ending violence against women and girls?
Well, maybe 2 or 3 things that are particularly important. First, this is a program that is only possible by the strong leadership of the national institutions. So I want to start by that, because the UN and the European Union do not work beyond or in parallel. We only can work and be successful if we have strong ministers, as Minister Halima or Minister Patricia, together with us making the difference. We cannot, so that would be my first. Second, since it belongs also not just to the laws, but also to the implementation and behavior change, we need to have together a coalition of different stakeholders working towards the same goal. And there I would like to really mark the fact that we have the chiefs, we have working in Spotlight, not for the program, for their communities, because they believe that this is a way to change behaviors and make development a reality. We have the media, and we have a network of 40 local radios and media people working to create awareness, and even to look into something that is very, very important, that is to create that impression of positive masculinities. We cannot achieve the elimination of violence by just creating an image that it's all fault of the man. I think it's a societal problem, and we need to create that positive relation to the issue. So I think that's, again, having men and boys being part of the conversation is essential to the success of a Spotlight. And I would say that two more things. One is leave no one behind at the core. We need to understand with who we need to partner, and obviously to create livelihood opportunities and to see that women not as victims but are potential leaders, and finding ways of creating small and medium-sized enterprises that can, receive them and just stimulate those of them who are maybe having this drive for innovation to go to the next level. And for the UN team, it's something quite important, because we are, through a Spotlight, implementing something that is the UN reform, working together, bringing the best of the work of 4 agencies in Malawi that are UN Women, UNFPA, UNICEF, and UNDP. And I can say that the work of my colleagues are bringing the best of the toolbox of the United Nations to really apply to eliminating violence against women and girls. And therefore, it is in the understanding that to eliminate violence, we cannot have only one agency engaged, but it is absolutely together. And at the level of the international commitments, the alliance between the European Union and the UN is not only because the European Union is putting resources, it's because together we are really making that a space of dialogue. As we speak, there is a dialogue about this also in Europe. There is a dialogue about this in New York, because that's at the core of the development agenda. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for highlighting that. And the next question is to the Inkosi Amakosi Mberwa 5. As a traditional leader, we cannot fight this fight on ending violence against women and children without concerted efforts. And I think the Honorable Minister highlighted the need for collaboration and coordination. So as a traditional leader, as a paramount chief, some Malawians allude to the fact that child marriages and harmful cultural practices are an important aspect of Malawian culture. What is your perception about this?
Answering your question, it may not be appropriate to imply that these elements are part of Malawi culture. As time is changing, some of these things are also changing. Some such behaviors are leaving behind, aligning ourselves to the new way of living. Let me also say that I think culture at that particular time, there were things that really conformed to that time. And clearly, when we look at them now, they are not working. So let me also say that we still have people in our communities that are not willing to change. They're still sticking to what they used to do during those days in our localities. I think this is now the time that we, as traditional leaders, as leaders in the communities, we need to look at those people who are hindering the rights of our women and girls. As a duty bearer and duty bearers, we have a big role of ensuring that civic education is enhanced, thereby creating a greater understanding in the perpetrators for them to appreciate the beauty of promoting welfare of women and girls. In as much as it is important to preserve culture and tradition, we have to agree that some of the traditions need to be abolished. And I think we are making strides in abolishing some of the harmful cultural practices that were there. I believe together we are overcoming such problems.
Thank you so much, Inkosi Amakosi. And adding to that, I just wanted to know, how are you partnering with the Spotlight Initiative and the Malawi government to ensure that traditional leaders are playing an important role to end harmful cultural practices against women and girls?
Yeah, I think for example, in our kingdom in Zimba, we have a chief's council where I chair it. So most of these problems that are there are shared, and the good things that are coming through Spotlight are shared through that kingdom, through that chief's council, whereby the information is disseminated to the chiefs to make sure that we enhance the civic education for our people to change these harmful cultural practices. I think you may be aware that just recently, last year, just to show the seriousness that we need to protect our women and girls. I took an initiative with my chief's council to fire one of the chiefs who had married a minor. That is how serious we are able to show that this malpractice has to end. And we also facilitate. We facilitated the return to school of girls that were married early, ending early marriages that were there. We're doing that. And coming in of Spotlight initiative has helped us a lot in increasing awareness, especially among the women, because you find that some of these harmful cultural practices, men will not know about it, because actually they are the ones who are doing these malpractices. It's the women that will cover these men without telling, because of whatever beliefs that are there. But because Spotlight has come in to let the women know that, we need to report these malpractices. Now I can sit here comfortably say that we are seeing the results, because the coming in of Spotlight has enlightened women to say out the bad things that are happening to them and the kids back home. So we really appreciate the coming in of Spotlight, and we hope that the Spotlight will be there for many years to come, because otherwise they're doing a greater job, and we are seeing the fruits, even assisting in justice, because you find that cases take time for them to go to court and then to be facilitated in court, and we see the root of it. But now, coming in of Spotlight, we see that such processes are done quickly because of their help.
All right. Thank you very much, our Paramount Chief, for highlighting the different roles that as a chief and other traditional leaders are playing in ending violence against children and ending harmful cultural practices. And now I shift to the Minister of Local Government. And I would like to know from you, Madam, how successfully do you think the district authorities are incorporating violence against women in local development plans?
Let me thank you for your question. As my ministry has facilitated in integration of gender-based violence in district development plans. As you know, that the process has been crucial in ensuring that all councils should prioritize the implementation of gender-based violence to ensure that for the sustainability of the programs, not to be guaranteed. Because sometimes you can start a process, but if you don't implement, then it's nothing, you have done nothing. So we're trying to make sure that all the councils' gender-based violence initiative should be their priority and should be implemented. And also my ministry has facilitated the sensitization of local governance structures, like village development committees, area development committees, district executive committees. And also my ministry has facilitated the formulation of bylaws by chiefs. And these bylaws have worked wonders because the initiative of gender-based violence, want to make sure that it's completely finished, it's completely, it's not escalating again. That's why we have formulated these bylaws. So the chiefs are doing wonders in their respective areas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And just to get more information from you, through the Ministry of Local Government, the chiefs are under your authority or under the authority of the ministry. And I would also like to know, how are the new chiefs forums established under the Spotlight Initiative contributing or going to contribute to ending violence against women and children and girls?
Thank you so much for your question again. With the support from the UN agencies, my ministry has facilitated the institution of Chiefs Forum. This Chiefs Forum has established forums in every district. And we have also sensitized the chiefs, the whole country, on gender-based violence through the forums. And what is remaining now is to have a national forum. So we're asking our partners to help us to establish the national forums. So this national forum will be comprising of all the chiefs from the chiefs' councils in the district. We were supposed to have one chief from the district forum to go to the national forum. And the paramount chiefs are permanent members of this national forum. So we're asking our partners to help us, to come up with this national forum. And also in the spotlight districts, the chiefs are already doing activities on gender-based activities. And on top of that, we have lady chiefs through interventions of other partners have influenced Chiefs Council to embark on this activity. For example, we have Chief Chief Chikumbu in Mulanje. We have Chief Kachindamoto in Dedza. We have Chief the Chief Kachindamoto in Dedza, and also have a chief in Mwanza and Salima. These lady chiefs are doing wonders, because for a girl child to go to school, if it comes from a lady chief, they will pick it fast rather than coming from a male chief. So these chiefs, the lady chiefs, are doing wonders in our country. So we'd like our development partners to help them do more than what they're doing now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's really great seeing the different roles that chiefs are playing in supporting ending violence against women and girls in Malawi, and guided by the Ministry of Local Government. And the next question is now going to the EU. And we would like to know more from you. Can you explain why the EU believes that ending violence against women and girls is important for development?
We all know that there cannot be development without peace. There cannot be peace without development. So it's quite natural that the European Union associates development efforts and efforts to end violence against women and girls. But further than that, and I think that several of the speakers have mentioned it before, the potential of women, half of the world's population, of entering economic development is huge. And with that comes not just the economic benefit, but there are many social benefits as well. Educating girls, educating boys. So we all see that when women are educated, the whole society benefits. So this is one reason. So more peaceful societies, richer societies, happier societies. This is one of the key reasons.
All right. And as a follow-up to that, how will the EU continue to invest in ending violence against women and girls after the Spotlight Initiative?
So as you know, the EU has gender equality really at the heart of its external action. And 10 years ago, we adopted our first gender action plan. So this action plan aims at deciding how are we going to leverage our actions to promote gender equality and women's empowerment. And we have just adopted the third gender action plan. And that action plan takes one step further. So 85% of all the development activities, all the cooperation work that the EU will launch from next year onwards until 2025 will have a gender component. So they will have to demonstrate that these actions not only support healthcare, integration of vulnerable populations or any other development activity, but also that there is a gender element, so that it makes sure that women are not left aside from that development. So this is really important. Just to let you know, the previous one was 20%, so 85%. It means that basically, for the next 4 years, almost all of the EU's cooperation work with national authorities, with NGOs, with civil society, will have a focus on putting women and girls first. So this is really important. The second one, for the first time, we have a minimum number of actions that will have to be fully dedicated to improving the economic and social empowerment of women. 5% of all our development budget. So you can really see that the EU is taking this very seriously. We have understood, and all the data from UN and partners show that if you empower women and girls, the whole society is just skyrocketing to the objectives that Malawi has set for itself, Vision 2063. You cannot achieve it if you don't put women and girls first. I know it sounds unfair, and probably men will go like, why? It's equality, we have the same rights. But as we were saying earlier with Her Excellency, Madame Monica Chequera, if we don't do it, we will have to wait for 100 years before we reach equality. So now is the time to put in much more effort than we would usually do so that we can have equality in the medium term. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really great to learn about the continued programming, especially in ensuring equality and also ending violence against women and girls. And we appreciate the support through our development partners through the EU in helping the Malawi government to end violence against women and girls. And my next question is now targeted to the CEO of COMESA on women in business and the Federation of Women in Business. And the 2030 agenda is ambitious and bold, and like the Spotlight Initiative, it also seeks to end all forms of violence against women and girls. And it therefore requires all sectors in society to work together and bridge the gap. So how do we then bridge this gap between development actors and private sector?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. And also organizing this event. It's been quite a very important time, just the right time to start talking at the high level. COMESA is an institution, especially CONFWEB, is the institution that is intermediary organization. We are between the government and the people as we implement directly with the women and the grassroots. We help them strengthen, organize, encourage, inspire, whatever it takes to get them to realize they have talents that they could use. And that talent must be used to bring an economic empowerment, which means number one is to feed themselves, their families, then mobilize the community economy, and then later on add value to the national GDPs. So with this in mind, COMESA has actually organized and coordinated with European Union. This year we are implementing in 20 countries of COMESA. It's a trade integration national, it's a capacity building activity. So every chapter is taking the rules, regulations, because one of the problem is our grassroots level women do not understand all these policies and regulations that we talk at the high level. So as they go through their day-to-day life, this is not making sense to them. We try to interact from government level, from partners, from all the other parts, and all they want to do is focus on how can I get that meal on the plate at the end of the day. So as they do these activities, there are many things that we see. This ambitious, you're right, it is ambitious to eliminate completely the agenda of gender-based violence by 2030. However, it's not the first time. We've started a long time ago. So the action is there. We cannot eliminate 100%, but we aim towards that. As we do this, it's naive to think we can eliminate gender-based violence without economic empowerment of the woman. If the woman is economically empowered and is able to feed herself and her family, then she could say, I'm okay, I don't need this, and be able to stand up for her rights. But she has to know she has rights. So those awareness things to make it very simple and critically understood by her and people around her is very important. Now, those of us who are in this podium, I'm sure we can think of many men in our lives, whether it be our fathers, brothers, co-workers, bosses that have given us that, yes, you could do this, besides just women around our life being leaders and role models. Now, what remains in the activity in Malawi is how do we come together to look into, number one, the policy, consistency with women in business. What is it? How do we support women in businesses? There are many challenges, and how do we identify them and then tackle them one by one? Secondly, how do we push this from all angles? As my predecessors mentioned, all of them at a very right time, that it's important that family supports women in business, supports elders. Elders really speak from their wisdom to say that violence is not okay. And that has to come out. If it doesn't, it seems it's normalized. Also, women's associations like ours, it's very important that we speak. There's power in avoiding violence. And when violence comes to you, reporting there's power, that there's someone behind them. So the associations must be empowered and also connected. The police might have a good role, but they can't work if the society is not using them properly and knowing how they can help or where to report. Religious leaders, African, most of our society, especially here in Malawi, but in most of our communities in Africa, our societies tend to be very religious. So the religious leaders have a big role to demonize violence against women and girls. So that has to really be localized, understood, but also taboo. So next I'm gonna go for media. Media has a big role to play. And when media plays, they have to be able to communicate that as a fashion. It's a fashion to be good to a woman. It's a fashion to be respecting women as in your family, but also in the street. Every woman you see is an image of your mother. Therefore, they have to see it from that point of view. And the media messages must go through that. Then I think in the school curriculum, schools also really, starting at the young age, the generational change of behavioral change must come. So school curriculums must be really impacting on this and having a lot of visibility activities so that the image of tabooing the violence is going to come out. And finally, sharing the success stories. There are many women that have gone through this violence but succeeded. Where are they? Identify them and tell their stories. Then finally, as far as how do bridge the gap of development actors and private sector, I think we need to create at a national level, because I really would like to see Malawi to be the leading light of the remaining COMESA countries, because this is not a Malawi case, it's an international case. It's everywhere. So can we have maybe create a central committee at the high level, meet up quarterly to identify, number one, what is the national development agenda empowering women? And we heard from the minister, we heard from all the other factors, it's there. So how do we use that policy and make sure that we align it with what we're doing with each other, and then communicate to the private sector in which we're here and this is what we're expecting from you. Because they want business and they want to promote their businesses. And if they're supporting, then that's number one. Number two is to support the economic status of the Malawian women and girls, and looking at it year by year. We can't go 10 years at the same time. So year by year, where are we? And then measure our success. So far it's been measured, but going year by year, what are we trying to accomplish? So each institution takes 2 tasks and then see if we can accomplish those tasks together. And then during the articulation meetings on the quarterly, we can invite the businesswomen organizations, because we have sectors that are textiles, agribusiness, honey, variety, mining, IT, variety of them. So bring those leaders and say, what are you willing to do to include those victims of violence to work with you and be able to either learn or empower themselves, or see if they could be mentored and coached and handheld, so that you become the role model, but not just for now, but sustainably for lifetime. Because they are in the community and they do feed the economies and they do feed the society. So they are part and parcel, they should be part and parcel of the change, not just run their businesses. And then identifying the partners to be able to document and share success. As they do good, and they're there, they're doing good, but we haven't documented them. And we have seen, I can share one example, is that there is a mining cooperative. They're not doing big, but they're doing something for themselves. So the cooperative is barely surviving, but it's amazing to see they've done as their corporate social responsibility, adopted 30 girls. During the COVID, all the girls that went to school with those 30 girls got pregnant. Those girls did not, all 30 of them, none of them got pregnant. What does it show us? When they are mentored, when they're guided by the cooperatives and local businesses, then they have someone to look up to in which you can impress them more than their families would. So that has been here in Malawi. It's a good example, and hopefully we'll document it together and share that story. And finally, work on spiraling growth year by year together until 2030.
Thank you so much for your comprehensive response, and even for highlighting what women in business can do in ending as a contribution in ending violence against women and girls. And now to the Deputy Inspector General of Police. In December, the Malawi Police announced that recorded cases of rape in the country had more than doubled since 2018, with young girls being the main victims. Yet we know that there are so many other cases that still go unreported. Why do you think this is the case?
Thank you very much for the question. Indeed, during our review, we recorded almost double the number of sexual violence. This is attributed to various reasons, one of which is increased public awareness. We are all aware the police has been in the forefront. The Minister of Gender has also been in the forefront of alerting people to go and report to police. And this, in my view, has increased the number of reported cases. Also, the Malawi Democratic Health Survey of 2016 showed that Malawi Police Service is one of the foremost service points where women and girls go to report. This, in my view, has also increased the recorded figures. And also the introduction of VSUs. We are all aware that the VSUs are in all police stations, in most of the stations in the country. And more women and girls find it easy to go to the VSUs to report because they are assured of privacy and confidentiality in the way the police handle their cases. It has also increased the number of reported cases. And also, the Penal Code of 2012, they reviewed the age of consent from 13 to 16. This shows that the people that were included, the 14 to 16 bracket, has also added the number of people that are being in this group. Therefore, I see it that it is why it has increased. Let me also say that the Malawi Police Service has improved the rate of prosecution on cases of sexual violence, and people are having confidence that if I report this case to police, definitely I'm going to be assisted. If the general public have confidence, it means that they will be willing, they will be motivated to go to police and report their cases. Just to give an example, in 2019, the police recorded 86% of cases of sexual violence which were successfully prosecuted. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam. And we also would like to know how the partnership between the Spotlight Initiative with the Malawi Police Service has helped to improve reporting and help seeking behaviors among women and girls to access justice.
Thank you very much for the question. Let me say that the police as an organization do recognize the support that we are receiving in this initiative, the Spotlight Initiative. As we are aware, the initiative has successfully supported the Malawi Police Service technically. Where we didn't have the capacity, we have been empowered, and this has resulted into speedy investigation and prosecution of cases. Spotlight Initiative has also enhanced capacity of police officers with regards to rendering comprehensive services based on essential service package. Let me say that a lot of police officers have benefited a lot in this initiative, and it has enhanced their capacity to deal with issues of sexual violence. And also, the initiative has supported the Malawi Police Service in integrating the essential service package in the basic recruit training. As we speak, the recruitment process, when the recruits are at the training institution, they are going to be imparted with knowledge of how to deal with cases of sexual violence, and trainers have also been being trained so that they should disseminate this information to the newly recruited police officers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And we have a few questions from the public. As you know, we are being live streamed. So the first question is going to the UN resident coordinator, Madam Torres. And the question is from Timome Piri from Doha. And she's asking, says most violence against women and girls is committed by men and boys. How is the Spotlight Initiative engaging men and boys?
Thank you, Chiwongo from Doha. I think this is a great question because I think at the core of the Spotlight initiative is really to create that linkages and platforms for dialogue. And I like to speak about something that is called the toolbox, the Barber toolbox that I think was showcasing in the video, a space where men can discuss these issues, because it's great to have women and girls discussing about the issues of violence. And you relate because as women, you understand what it is. But I think that what this initiative is doing is to provide a safe space for men to talk to each other. And as I think our chief Nkosi Yamakosi Melba was explaining, there is nothing of culture that is justifying abuse. And if that's the case, I think there are people that can explain that it's not the case. And I think that dialogue with men to men is helping a lot. And I think it is absolutely not going against men behavior, but going against behaviors. Yeah, it is not about men, it's about the behaviors that we are talking about. That's one element. The other element that I think is starting to become really powerful is how we work at the level of schools. And I think their police is becoming a very important ally. So they are present in the schools, they exercise a protection mechanism. And also if there is kids who feel that they're abused or somebody else is abused, and there is a box that they can put. And as police, they follow up on the cases. And we also work within the curriculum to start working on creating awareness. So boys and girls are looking and discussing more and more these issues. So that are some of the examples that I can provide. I mean, if we go into the chief forums, I think that's something that it has been well explained both by the minister and the chief. But I think these are some examples on how men and boys are being included in the conversation.
Thank you so much. The second question is from Taonga Nyirenda from Karabe, and it is directed to the EU, to you, Madam Oleri. And it says, what is the link between poverty and violence against women and girls?
Thank you, Taronga. Very interesting question. I think we need another side event to answer that question. The linkages are multiple, but mainly when you are poor, you are dependent on other people who can provide for you. So if women do not have their own means of earning money, they are dependent on another person. And if that person is abusing them, is violent, they cannot walk away. As Minister Kaliati said, if you don't earn anything, you can't walk away because you depend on this person. So one of the key elements is being dependent. Another element is that poverty doesn't allow you necessarily to send your kids to school because you think, the cost of the equipment, the cost of taking them there. If it's far away, you have to find a place for them to stay. So all of this is also preventing kids from being educated. And it's when they are at school, as Maria Jose mentioned, that they avoid some of that violence and they learn as well, including through the support that they get from the communities, what is a good behavior and what is a wrong behavior in terms of violence against women and girls. So all these factors, which are linked to the status of being poor, exacerbate violence against women and girls. It doesn't mean that it's the only reason. Violence against women and girls happens everywhere, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you come from Europe, America, Africa, it doesn't matter. Violence, is not discriminatory in that sense. But poverty does exacerbate the cases of violence against women and girls.
Thank you so much. And the last question goes back to the UN resident coordinator, and it's from Chikondi Ntengo from Nsanje. And the question is, how is the Spotlight initiative specifically addressing violence against marginalized women and girls? For example, women and girls with disabilities.
Chikondi, thanks very much for raising the issue of women and girls with disability, because we know that in addition to sometimes creating stereotypes about what is the role of women, if you think about a woman or a girl with disabilities, people sometimes think that they are even, less of a subject of rights So I think in that situation, I think because Spotlight is centrally based on rights, on human rights, and we are very keen on making sure that Leave No One Behind is central to the whole work. We are working within the schools to make schools inclusive, and this is a policy of the government of Malawi. So it's a policy of the Ministry of Education to make sure that persons with disabilities can also access a school. Therefore, the benefit from the work that we are doing also in terms of schools and human rights and Spotlight. I think there is a lot of work that is happening also at the level of the civil, the CSOs. I have personally visited a couple of experiences in Chizi, and I was very impressed on how the community was reacting towards abuse of a girl who was having a disability, because they considered that to be a double violation for being a girl and also living with a disability. And that's something that is becoming more obvious, that is not the right behavior. And I think there I have to say, it was very interesting to see the role that actually the chiefs were taking. So I mean, to the question, we are at the beginning of this conversation, and I think integrating persons with disabilities into the conversation is absolutely essential, because we know, and the data, I'm sure, and I think I cannot stress more what the Minister of Gender said this morning and today, this afternoon. We don't have enough data. I think the police has a good data set and trying to find explanations, but when we go into the situation of persons with disabilities, I think we need to get more. Therefore, I think we're at the beginning, and we are determined as Spotlight Alliance to integrate this issue of stopping violence against women and girls living with disabilities. Absolutely fundamental. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And at this point in time, I would like to thank you all for being part of our panel. And before we go to the next steps, I would like to know, what are your pledges, your individual pledges on ending violence against women and girls? We cannot celebrate the International Women's Day and women in leadership without pledging to do more to end violence against women and girls in Malawi. So I will start with you, Madam Halima Daudi, our Minister of Local Government. What is your pledge on ending violence against women in Malawi and girls?
Thank you. As Halima Daud, I would love to see one day here at Malawi, gender-based violence is completely gone. So I'll try my best as now the Minister of Local Government to talk to our chiefs, to work hard in the communities to stop this gender violence. And also, I would like to urge the chiefs that if they see anybody doing this malpractice, they should take the culprits to police. Because sometimes it's the husband does something to the daughter, and the wife will say, no, because it's my husband, I'll never report to the police, or I'll never tell anybody. But I'm telling these women to report their husbands to the police. Let them be arrested. Let them be examples, so that other people, when they see that their own husbands are being arrested, other people should also stop doing that malpractice. So I, as Halima Daud, would like to see one of these days gender-based violence completely gone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And Madam Maria Jose Torres.
So I like to pledge as UN resident coordinator that eliminating violence against women and girls goes across all of our programming. So as we work in creating stronger institutions and working with civil society, think about that and who can be part of that conversation, expanding the remit of Spotlight. As we work with our partners in the national institutions on health, education, on population, really make sure that we expand the good practices and we reach out. And as we combat the climate crisis, create opportunities for sustainable development and resilience building, we really reach out to private sector, reach out to the communities while combating climate crisis and creating resilience to make sure that women and girls are part of it. So it's not just a program, but we just use it as a platform to really promote development in Malawi. So I commit to do my part as resident coordinator in liaising and working with all the UN agencies in Malawi to eliminate violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Madam Oleri Vatat, the EU Church Affairs.
Thank you. As EU, I can pledge that the next Spotlight Initiative, so the sequel to the Spotlight Initiative, will be as, if not more ambitious in terms of achievements, in terms of resources than the current Spotlight Initiative.
Thank you so much. And Inkosi Amako Simberwa.
I pledge that any cultural activity that escalates gender-based violence will be dealt with in the kingdom, in Zimba, but as well through the Chiefs Forum that is being established. I will make sure that I fight tooth and nail that all cultures in Malawi abolish all harmful cultural practices that are contributing towards the gender-based violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Madam Ruth Negash.
Okay, thank you. I pledge to work with everyone around to make sure that women businesses open their doors for these women who are facing and girls that are facing violence, but at the same time to inspire, organize, mentor, coach, train and transfer their skills, but also bring them under their umbrella so that they also understand the talent they have can create jobs. Any woman can create a job. Any woman can open a business. We all have a businesswoman inside us. So with that knowledge, I pledge to communicate throughout the women organizations and associations that we will deliver results.
Thank you so much. And finally, to Madam Mary Nyolamu, the Deputy Inspector General.
I pledge to the women and girls of Malawi to provide a quality service which is accessible, responsive, and accountable to them.
Thank you so much. At this point in time, you have small packages beside your chair, and I would like you to pick what's inside that small package. And we will go to the banner right in front of us and to you on your left, where we will shine a spotlight on the statistics on violence against women and gender-based violence in Malawi. So you should get the torches, their torches, and yes. So we will do a photo op at where we have the banner, which is displaying statistics on gender-based violence in Malawi. And let me also thank you for being great panelists and for your participation. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the photo op. At this point, let me hand over to Ruth.
Thank you so much, Yanura G. Peta, there for moderating that panel discussion. And of course, Spotlight Initiative works to end violence against just some of the issues that they are putting a spotlight on in the country using that program. Just a reminder, thank you so much, of course, to our panelists for doing that. And that's everyone's responsibility as a country and, of course, as citizens of the country and the world to make sure that we are putting a spotlight on these evils and just where we're failing, because we definitely can do better. Thank you so much for your participation, panelists, and for that as well. I'm going to ask you to take your seats. Thank you. Well, as we close the program this evening, let me just remind you where we are. This is BICC. This is, of course, the Africa Gender Equality Conference, which is a 3-day conference running here. So be sure to go on For Equality page to continue with the conversation. Right now, I actually would like to release our audience on television, but we are continuing the conversation online. And head off to For Equality, like the page, you will find all of the details there on and links really to help you be a part of this very important conversation. So this was the Spotlight Initiative Ending Violence Against Women and Girls segment. The Spotlight has actually been running for 2 years here in the country, and they're doing a great job, as we have heard in the panel discussion and the different presentations that were given here tonight. But for now, let me thank you all for tuning in at home and online. Please like that page, get the links to continue with the conversations. My name is Ruth Kalaisi. Thank you very much. A good night to you. Well, as earlier shared, the conversation continues. I was just letting everyone else at home who's watching us from television go off and continue, but we are still streaming live online. And now I would love for us to have a quick look at closing remarks from Honorable Minister Dowd, and then from there we'll have some poetry just to send us off on our way. So let's have that closing remarks from Honorable Minister Dowd.
Maria Jose, United Nations Resident Coordinator, representatives from the UN family, including EU, Inko Semako Simberwa, senior government officials present, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and privilege to be here this evening and participate in this high-level roundtable discussions as we commemorate the International Women's Day. As you are aware, ladies and gentlemen, the Spotlight Initiative program is a program that is aimed at targeting the most at-risk groups, which accelerated efforts towards elimination of violence against women and girls, including sexual gender-based violence and harmful practices. The initiative is tailored to promote Agenda 2030's guiding principles of leaving no one behind. Malawi is one of the 8 African countries selected to implement the Spotlight Initiative, along with other 24 countries across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Local Government has provided a conducive environment for the implementation of the Spotlight Initiative program through the institution of decentralization structures at village level, traditional authority level, and the district council, including the empowerment of the rural populace, women and girls inclusive, to participate in decision-making and overall development at the council. Ladies and gentlemen, it should therefore be undiscorded that during the first 2 years of the implementation of this program, 2019-2020, my ministry has made significant contributions towards the reduction and elimination of gender-based violence in councils as follows. 1, my ministry has facilitated the integration of gender-based violence initiatives into the District Development Plan, DDPs. This process has been critical in ensuring that the councils are prioritizing the implementation of GBVs and ensure that sustainability of these programs is guaranteed. 2, my ministry has facilitated the formulation and enforcement of bylaws by councils, which have to greater degree played a role in ensuring gender-based violence is not escalating. 3, with support from UN agencies, my ministry has facilitated the institution of Chiefs Forum in councils. Among the critical positive interventions of the Chiefs Forum has been the enforcement of bylaws in communities and disciplining of the chiefs who engage in such malpractices. My ministry has also facilitated sensitization of local governance structures, in particular the village development committees, area development committees, and district executive committees, among others. And finally, my ministry has promoted the Back to School campaign and withdrawing of teenage from marriages. Ladies and gentlemen, the roundtable discussion has revealed a myriad of positive strides that have been registered during the implementation of the program. Further, the midterm review has reviewed a great deal of best case scenario, and a number of lessons have been learned, which informed programming of the phase 2 interventions. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it is my sincere commitment that my ministry will continue supporting these Spotlight Initiative programs, whose fruits are demonstrating desired results. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Dowd, Minister of Local Government. Thank you. As I promised earlier, we do have some poetry performance coming up next by a very passionate young woman who writes so well. I think she really is able to speak what most wouldn't because they just only feel it, but she's a voice for those. Pindozai Banda.
I heard them say, the numbers do not lie. Statistics show that 1 in every 3 women will experience sexual violence. Those are terrifying numbers. What were you wearing numbers? How drunk were you numbers? Don't ask for it numbers. Damning numbers. Death numbers. I am one of 3 women, born to a woman who is herself one of 3. Our entire family tree is decorated with women in groups of 3, perched stiffly on the branches, each one on the verge of falling, each one holding on for dear life, each one hoping it isn't them, each one wondering if it was their mother, their grandmother, their sister, that girl from school, that woman from the market, that girl from church. The unfortunate number, the victim number, the defiled number, the 1 in 3 women number. The unknown is terrifying. Not knowing which one of us it will be, praying it isn't me, but not wishing it on the other 2, praying and wishing it did not have to be anybody, praying and wishing the numbers did not exist in the first place, but they do. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Pinduzai Banda, thank you very much for that. I'm not sure if I should cry. Yeah, that was powerful. Thank you for speaking on behalf of so many women, so many people. Those are the many fears that they have. Thank you for that. Well, Spotlight Initiative works to bring that number down to 0, as they are working to eliminate violence against women and girls around the world. As of now, they're working in 24 countries, and in Malawi, they're working in 6 districts, but they are looking to extend their reach within the country this year. So COVID-19 is definitely not a factor in the fight against gender-based violence. And this is something that they look to achieve. So we do celebrate with the Spotlight Initiative 2 years of a job well done, many hurdles that they've gone on to overcome. And we thank you for the work that you are doing here. Once again, this is the Africa Gender Equality Conference, a 3-day virtual conference, 38 countries and 3,000 participants that have registered, discussing issues around gender equality. And of course, gender equality is a human rights issue, and those are issues that are very important, crucial issues that we need to continue speaking on. And COVID-19 has had an impact, but we look to have strategic conversations around this to see how we can mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 moving forward. And today, of course, is International Women's Day, officially launched this morning. And I'm proud to say that I think we had an amazing morning, and that's when we launched it here in the morning. So it's been a good day, and let me continue to wish everyone a happy International Women's Day as we celebrate the women, their achievements, the contributions that they've made and will continue to make in our country, in our communities, and the world at large. Women, go ahead and take that step, be bold, be courageous. It is our time. On that note, let me wrap this session up. Be sure to like the Facebook page for Equality to get all of the details, all of the links as we continue this conference. It is a 3-day conference, but we still have more coming on tonight in just a few, but we will be closing this link. So once more, thank you for joining us. My name is Ruth Kulaisi. Have yourself a fantastic evening. Thank you.